friends, my name is Jess. Welcome to Books Past Bedtime. So a couple weeks ago I put out a video where I read Chandler Ainsley's favorite books. Me and a couple of my booktube friends have gotten together and decided to do that style of video amongst ourselves. So me, Mer over at mer.reads, and Kirsten over at Kirsten's Corner are all three doing this video for one another. And this month I got Mer, so today we are going to be reading Mer's favorite books and seeing if she can be trusted, basically. Honestly, Mer and I seem to have very different reading tastes. We agree on some things, but I think we probably disagree on more things. And when we disagree, we really disagree and have like absolutely opposite opinions. So I'm really interested and honestly a little bit nervous to read her favorite books because I have absolutely no clue how I'm going to feel about them. Mer and Kristen are also going to be posting their videos today. They will be linked in the description down below. Definitely go check those out as well. I believe Kirsten is reading my favorites and Mer is reading Kirsten's favorites. So definitely check out those links in the description. But yeah, let's just get into the books that I'm planning to read. Most of these books came from Mer's Isolation Rex video. They either came from that video or she recommended them to me directly and like told me they were her favorite books. So I am going to be reading 3 books in this vlog, and the first of those is The Ocean at the End of the Lane by Neil Gaiman. Neil Gaiman is one of Mer's all-time favorite authors. She really loves him, raves about all of his books. I have read 2 Neil Gaiman books in the past. I have read American Gods and I have read The Graveyard Book, and I felt meh about both of them. I wasn't like super impressed. American Gods was really long and really boring, and The Graveyard Book was kind of like strange and underdeveloped. Like it was okay, but I really don't remember what it was about. But hopefully The Ocean at the End of the Lane changes that. Mer recommended this specifically as the Neil Gaiman I should try next, so I'm trusting her. The Ocean at the End of the Lane is a story within a story. So our main character goes back to his hometown that he grew up in for a funeral. When he gets there, he visits his friend's old house and he starts to reminisce on his childhood. And so we get a flashback to his childhood. He had a bit of a traumatic childhood and met this girl named Letty Hemstock, who is magical, I believe. And a strange nanny comes to stay at our main character's house and kind of torments him and causes scary things to happen, and Letty is the only person that he can really trust and can really help him. So I think they band together and embark on a adventure to banish this nanny. I think she's like otherworldly. I don't really know. This is kind of a difficult book to explain, but it sounds interesting and whimsical, and I'm excited to pick this one up. Next, I'm going to read Beartown by FREDRIK BACKMAN. I think this is one of Mer's newer favorites, but this is set in a hockey town in Sweden, and it follows a large cast of characters leading up to the community's junior hockey team competing in like a national championship competition thing. The star player of this hockey team commits a violent act against the daughter of the general manager of the hockey company, and this throws the town into utter turmoil. Everybody is taking sides, and I think this is going to be a very emotional book, but I hope that it is also very good and very touching. I really think that I'm going to like this one, so hopefully I do. And last but not least, I will be reading Strange Dreamer by Laini Taylor. This is one of Mer's favorite series, and it has also been on my TBR for forever. It's probably one of the books that's been on my TBR, my Goodreads TBR, for the longest, so I figured this was the perfect opportunity to finally read this book. This is a fantasy book, which fantasy, I used to pick it up more when I was younger, but not so much anymore. I kind of find myself preferring contemporary stuff, but I do like a good fantasy every once in a while, as long as it like meets certain criteria. Like I hate heavy world building. I like a more character focused fantasy. I usually like a little bit of like romance or something in it. Don't think that this has any romance in it, if I'm not mistaken, but hopefully I can survive. Honestly, I have no idea what this book is about. I don't know if I can explain it for the life of me. I think it follows this character named Laszlo Strange, who is a librarian in this like magical library, and he's obsessed with this myth of this town called Weep that's kind of been deleted from everybody's collective consciousness, and I think he believes that it's real and like wants to find it. I don't really know. This sounds also very whimsical and strange, but everybody raves about this book, not just Mer, so there must be something good here. So yeah, hopefully it's good because the description is confusing as heck. So those are the books that I'm going to be reading in this vlog, and we will find out together whether we can trust Mer's recommendations. So let's just get into it. Okay, I've started my first book, The Ocean at the End of the Lane by Neil Gaiman, and let me tell you, this book is giving me anxiety. Woo! Okay, so just as a little refresher, this book basically follows this man who returns to his hometown for a funeral. Even though the house he lived in is long gone, he is drawn to this farm at the end of the road where he remembers being as a boy of 7 years old, meeting this girl named Letty Hemstock, and he starts flashing back to when he was 7. At this time, a man committed suicide in a stolen car down the road, and this event unleashed this darkness, and our main character meets this girl, Letty Hemstock, as I mentioned, who is magical and vows to protect him. and so he's having all of these like scary experiences, and no one believes him that these things are happening. There is some kind of evil like controlling his dad, and there's this like evil nanny that comes to watch them, and no one believes this poor boy that these terrible things are happening to him. He has no one to turn to except for Letty. I don't really even know how to describe this book. It is very atmospherical and magical. I'm currently listening to the audiobook, which is narrated by Neil Gaiman. Definitely would recommend. He definitely is a very good narrator. I like him, listening to him read his own stories. I definitely am enjoying this one so far and interested to see where it goes. But as I mentioned, some of the things that have happened so far really are making me anxious, just because any kind of book that involves like a kid who bad things are happening to, but the grown-ups don't believe him, drives me bonkers. Like, it makes me so angry and upset and just stresses me out so much. And that is definitely a running theme in this book so far. Like, this freaking evil nanny tries to get his dad to kill this little boy and drown him in the bathtub, and I am just over here like, oh my god, what is going on? Just talking about it, I'm so stressed out. I have no idea where this book is going to go. Obviously he survives because he comes back and visits his town as an adult, but wow, it is very intense. I really don't have a ton to say about this book yet, other than that the characters are very interesting. I'm really liking the writing and the atmosphere of the story. It definitely feels very like magical and whimsical, which I enjoy that kind of thing, so definitely am liking it so far. Definitely is kind of like almost scary too because of what's going on. If I was to rate it just from the first half, I think I would probably give it 4 stars. It's definitely not a 5-star book for me right now, but it is very interesting, and I'm interested to see where it goes and how it turns out. And hopefully the main character is like okay, because there's a lot of shit going down. So, and I will let you know when I finish. Okay, I know I previously recorded this, but the footage has disappeared. I have never lost footage before until this week, and now I've lost footage from 2 different videos, so I don't know what the heck's going on. I probably like was trying to free up room in my phone and deleted them because I'm dumb, but I digress. So I did finish The Ocean at the End of the Lane by Neil Gaiman, and honestly I felt about this book like I did about all of the other Neil Gaiman books that I've read before. It was just kind of meh. I think the concept was really good, but I think the execution was a little bit lacking. I don't know if this is supposed to be like a children's story, but it felt a little bit underdeveloped for me. The magic system was kind of confusing. The plot was a little bit confusing. I just felt like I wanted more from the story, and I believe that's how I also felt about the Graveyard book. Since finishing, I have been doing a little bit of research on the book because I kind of wanted to figure out what was the meaning behind it, and I read some interviews with Neil Gaiman and some of his explanations of the book. To me, in my interpretation, this book is about the stories we tell ourselves to deal with childhood trauma. Neil Gaiman said he really put a lot of himself into this book, like this is his story, and it was the way that he could tell his wife the story of his childhood. So if some of these things happen to Neil Gaiman as a child, that was horrible. I don't know like how much is fiction and how much is fantasy and how much is real, but knowing that does give another layer of a meaning to this book for me, and I think that's a really neat way to package this concept. So I do admire that about this book. I do really enjoy like looking back on the story and figuring out how that concept really manifested within the story, but overall this wasn't a new favorite of mine. I really think me and Neil Gaiman just don't vibe, and that's cool. That's okay. I don't have to vibe with everybody. So I think this book's gonna get like a 3.5 star for me, probably a 3.5. So yeah, next I am going to start Beartown by FREDRIK BACKMAN, and I'm very excited. Let's get into it. Okay, let's talk about Beartown. So I am almost 50%, not quite, into Beartown. I'm listening to the audiobook, really enjoying that. Just as a refresher, this book does take place in a hockey town in Sweden, and it's kind of all about the events leading up to this town's junior team competing in the National Hockey League Championships. I don't know what it's called, but they're competing in some national competition. And there are some intense events that happen leading up to this. One of the biggest things that happens is the star of the hockey team actually ends up raping the daughter of the general manager of the hockey company. This is definitely a very intense scene. It absolutely made me sob. It was so devastating and so intense, and I just, moving forward, am so afraid of what's going to happen just with like how these things play out in real life. This kid is the star of the hockey team, and this whole town is rooting for this hockey team to win this national championship, and I just feel like they're going to blame the girl, downplay what happened, support him, ruin her life basically if she comes forward. And her dad is the general manager of the hockey company, so I'm very afraid of his reaction to the situation. Where I'm at in the book, this situation has just happened. I have not read further to get anybody's reaction or to even know if she comes forward with this information, but I had to stop reading because I was so stressed. If they make this girl feel like shit and that she's ruining this kid's life because of what he did to her when he ruined her fucking life, I'm gonna be so upset. And this is so many people's like favorite book. Everybody raves about this book, so I would hope that it has a better conclusion than that. I'm sure there's going to be turmoil and different opinions, but I just really hope that there is hope at the end of this story. It's crazy emotional, but so far it is written very well. The writing is honestly beautiful. I really love how the author like switches between perspectives, because we are following a lot of different perspectives in this book. It's hard to say that I'm enjoying a story like this, but I definitely am appreciating the reading experience and think it is a good story and one worth being told. But I am very interested to see where this story goes, where it ends up. I'm very apprehensive of where it's going to go and where it's going to end up, so hopefully it will be good, but we shall see. I will keep you guys updated. So I finished Beartown, and right up until the very end, I had no idea how I was going to rate this book. I was so anxious the whole time, even at the very end, like wondering where this was going to go and how it was going to end. And my entire rating depended on how it ended. And thankfully, it ended in a way that I really appreciated. So this book is gonna get 5 stars from me. So looking back, I really loved this story. The reading experience itself was very stressful, as this book does deal with such difficult, heavy subject matter, as I discussed in the previous clip. Now, having finished it, looking back, having had the experience in its entirety, I can really see this story was so well written and so well done. It really encapsulated, I think, the reality of a situation like this. I felt that all of the characters' reactions in this situation were very real and very raw, and just felt very true to human nature. And I'm gonna get into a couple spoilers, so just be forewarned. So there were a number of things at the end of the book that I was really afraid were going to happen. One of those being there was this storyline with Maya about whether she was going to end up killing Kevin, if she was going to kill herself, or what she was going to do. She seemed a little unstable, and they kept hinting that she was practicing shooting with her best friend Anna. I wanted her to kill Kevin, but I didn't want her to kill Kevin because I didn't want her life to be ruined. So I was really afraid of like what she was going to do and how that was going to turn out. But I think the way that FREDRIK BACKMAN wrote that scene was so powerful. It was just the perfect conclusion to that situation. I liked how Maya had the power in that situation, and she finally got some sense of comeuppance against him because of the disaster that was the court case and the investigation. So I'm glad nothing happened that got Maya in trouble and ruined her life even more than it was already ruined. So I really enjoyed that scene, and I thought it was so well done. But that was like right at the end, so I was so afraid of what was going to happen. I had no idea, but I thought it was just perfect. I really enjoyed that scene. I sound like a psychopath. It's not like I didn't enjoy it, but like, you know what I mean. It was good. She made him be himself. Oh my god, it's amazing. Okay, anyway, I also was really afraid of what Amit was going to do. I really liked his character throughout this story, and I was so proud of him that he finally stood up and gave his witness testimony. I was going to be really disappointed in his character if he did not do that, and I'm so glad that he finally did stand up for Maya, and I just admire the heck out of him. He is such a great character. I loved him so much. Speaking of characters I loved, he was one of my favorites. Benji, I loved Benji so much. I was afraid about what he was going to do as well. I know he was pretty much against Kevin the whole time. Not super vocal about it, but I don't think he really needed to be, because what he didn't say, I think, packed the most punch. The way he left his relationship with Kevin, I really admired him for that as well. And the scene between him and Kevin's mother at the end was so heartrending. I just loved how she said to him that he is such a strong man because he has been raised by strong women. He doesn't need a strong father authority figure in his life to be a strong man, and I loved that line and I loved that scene. I just thought it was so powerful. Like, it sucks that Kevin's mom didn't go against him, but I don't understand how you could ever go against your kid, so I understand where she was coming from with that. But I can't even imagine knowing that about your kid, like knowing it to be true in your heart and just staying quiet. I don't know. This is a very powerful book. I also really liked Bobo as a character. I liked his relationship with Amit and how he protected him, and his conversation with his dad at the end is hilarious and just the best thing ever. Overall, I just think this book was really, really well done. I think it took a direct and hard look at rape and rape culture and how the man is often looked at as the victim. The girl is belittled and ignored and not trusted. It's just disgusting, and I think this book really shows a very realistic portrait of what a rape accusation against a young promising athlete would look like anywhere in the world. It was just really well done. I really liked this book. 5 stars for sure. Okay, so I just started reading Strange the Dreamer. I am currently on page 65. Thayon sucks ass. Oh my god. He just made me so angry when he steals Laszlo's whole works and like claims them as his own for these soldiers that come in from the city of Weep. Oh my god. I just got so angry. I already really like Laszlo a lot, and obviously since I'm angry for him, I feel a lot for him. So just as a quick refresher, Strange the Dreamer is a fantasy series. It follows this character named Laszlo Strange, who is a orphan and librarian who works in this library in this fantasy kingdom. We have been introduced to this character named Thayon, who is like the godson of the queen, and he's an alchemist. Laszlo like saw him getting beaten by his father and realized that like the weight of the kingdom basically rested on his shoulders because the queen really wanted him to create gold from his alchemy, and so Laszlo kind of gave him the secret to make gold. He like found it in this book. It was a fairy tale, but he just had this theory, and he presented it to him because he felt bad for him. So he's really helped him out a lot. Thayon just fucking sucks and doesn't appreciate Laszlo. It is very frustrating, but I am enjoying this a lot more than I thought I was going to so far. But the writing is very beautiful. I was a little bit confused at first because it's just very like flowery and metaphorical, atmospheric, not super like straightforward and clear. You're just kind of thrown in. I was like, what the hell is on? But I have started to kind of pick up on it and what's going on, and I am liking it so far. I definitely want some redemption for Laszlo already. Hopefully I will get a decent chunk of this read tonight. It'd be great if I could get through 180 pages and get to part 3, but I have to edit a video tonight too, so I don't know that I will get that far. Definitely right now, before I stop reading this section, I'm going to get to part 2, which is like in 20 pages on page 83. So that's my plan for right now. I just wanted to give you a quick update because I was so angry and had such an emotional reaction already. So yeah, I will keep reading and keep you updated. Hello, I finished Strange the Dreamer. Oop, there's a glare, sorry. I'm sorry I didn't update you more while I was reading this, but you know, life, so. Anyway, I ended up really liking this book. I am mad though because it ends on a cliffhanger. What the heck? I know it's a duology, I know there's another book, but oh my god, the cliffhanger was killing me. I think I might have liked this one enough to give it 5 stars as well. Maybe we can trust Mer. So first of all, I did talk about this in the previous clip, but I really loved the writing style. The writing style was very rich and metaphorical and whimsical, but it really worked with the story. Everything constantly flowed. It was very well paced. It was very well plotted. The characters were so well rounded. I just really loved this story. I felt fully immersed in the reading experience. It was really a unique book, very much so unique book. Like Laini Taylor, her mind must be an amazing place. Like this was just so unique and so well developed and so well thought out. It baffles me. I honestly haven't read a book quite like this where it just is so, I don't even have words for it, just so creative and immersive. And like I mentioned, the characters were so well developed. I loved all of them, even all the secondary characters. Laszlo, of course, is such an amazing hero, main character of this story. His journey was so interesting and I just really loved him. He just is like a good, sweet, wholesome, pure character, and I just want to protect him because he just sees the good in the world and in everyone around him. It's just, he's amazing. He's such a good character. And Sarai as well is so interesting. Her world's whole magic system is super interesting, but her particular power was so just crazy creative and interesting to watch and learn about. And she was just such a good character as well. A very empathetic character. I really felt for her and wanted to help her out as well. And her and Laszlo's relationship is amazing. I was very glad that this book did end up having a little bit of romance in it because then I had something to root for, you know? I loved that aspect. I thought it was really well done, and that's why I hated the cliffhanger so much. If you know what I mean, you know what I mean. Oh my god. I am like so anxious about what's gonna happen in the next book. I don't know where in the heck this is going to go. Although, while reading this book, I did think it was kind of predictable. I predicted who Laszlo was pretty much as soon as they got to Weep and the clues started dropping, but that wasn't like necessarily a bad thing. I really liked how everything unfolded and how my theory was like proved correct in the end. I just thought it was really cool. It didn't really take away that I guessed what was going on. I just was like anticipating waiting for him to figure it out because I thought it was such a cool thing. I still hate Thyon. He really sucks. I kind of pity him. He sucks. I hate him. I still hope that he dies, honestly. But yeah, I really loved this, even though the ending hurt my soul. I really have no idea how it's going to go, but I hope that the second book is just as good and redeems that ending because ouch, that hurt. This gets 5 stars from me. Muse of Nightmares will probably be on my August TBR because I just cannot wait to read it. So that concludes this video of reading Mer's favorite books. Overall, I think that this went surprisingly well. I pretty much liked all of these books. The Ocean at the End of the Lane was definitely my least favorite. As you might remember, got 3.5 stars. Was okay. Wasn't my favorite. Cool concept, but kind of underdeveloped. And then in second place, I think I'm gonna put Strange the Dreamer, even though both Beartown and Strange the Dreamer got 5 stars. Beartown, which takes the #1 spot and was my favorite book of this video, just had more of an emotional impact on me and was definitely more my speed and the kind of book that I really enjoy. And I think it's going to stay with me for a really long time. So Beartown was my favorite book that I read for this reading vlog. But overall, I'm really glad that I read all of these books, especially Strange the Dreamer and Beartown. I really enjoyed this experience, and I will have to grudgingly admit that Mer doesn't have that bad of taste, I guess. So that concludes my video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this experience. Let me know down below if you've read any of these books and what you think of them. All relevant links will be in the description down below, including both Mer and Kirsten's videos. Definitely go check those out, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.